I became a matcha girl, it was really like I woke up one day and was like, you know what, I'm actually done drinking coffee. Actually, I'm over it. I'm done. What I'm not saying is that I poisoned myself with my coffee maker, and I've felt a little iffy on coffee ever since. So maybe that's connected, but that did happen 7 months ago, so I feel that maybe I'm just a matcha girl and it's been in my blood this whole time and it's just now coming out. I've been having to force myself to come outside just for like a little bit every single day because it is so grossly humid outside. You know what feeling I miss? But this is a very specific feeling. But I used to do recreational cheerleading as a child. I also did competitive cheerleading when I got a little older, but speaking specifically like from the ages of 7 to 13, throughout the fall, I would get dressed in my little cheerleading uniform and I would go do Let's Get Fired Up, dun, 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 dun. Be aggressive, be aggressive. We would do that every Sunday morning in our cutie little skirts with our pom-poms, and the way that those mornings felt, like being outside in the fall with your little mini skirt on, shivering and giggling with your friends because you're like, oh, it's so cold. Let's do another cheer so we can warm up. I think about that all the time because I miss that. I miss that energy. I've been reading this book, Bliss Montage, a collection of short stories per the recommendation of my friend Jordan, and I've been really liking it. I've been actually very pleasantly surprised with how much I liked it. And that's just because I've been in such a reading slump that I don't know how high my hopes are at this stage of finding something that's gonna break me out of it, because it really has been what feels like forever at this point, the everlasting reading slump. But you wanna hear some good news? Good news of the week is last night, my trivia team won our 6th game in a row. We've came in first every single game so far in the summer season, and I'm just feeling really stoked on that. The fact that we used to fight to place and now we're getting first, like we really do be getting smarter. Ever since I started going to trivia, we've been going for 2 years now. Over the last 2 years, I have made a point to absorb knowledge that I might come across in my day-to-day and think to myself, there's gonna be no way I'm ever gonna need to remember this. Nay, there is a reason, and that reason is the New York City Trivia League. The amount of knowledge that I have soaked up in the last 2 years, simply because I've been playing trivia and I wanna be good at it, so I'm like constantly in the pursuit of knowledge. Like, this is what you get, bitch. This is what you fucking get. But last night felt particularly special because I overheard another team talking about us, which I loved. I loved every second of it, honestly. And it's funny because literally last week I was talking to one of my friends and was like, I'm surprised that I've never heard someone talking about us at trivia, because we're constantly talking about other teams. Fucking, I'm not gonna pretend we're not. You know, there's the people that come every single week and I see them and I'm like, okay, that's our sister team and these are our rivals. These ones are our sisters. We love them. And then this team, I'm gunning for you each week. I'm trying to beat you. Listen, all a little friendly competition. But I've just never overheard someone talking about us before. And I'm like, well, clearly they do. We're the biggest brains in Bushwick. So many people are saying that. So anyways, last night, our trivia host was announcing the departure of one of the baristas that works at the place we play trivia, but he said it right after he announced us coming in first place. So it kind of sounded like it was one clean sentence, and the table next to us that didn't realize that we were the lads thought that he was saying this was the last game that the lads were playing. But it's not. And I overheard someone at their table say, oh, thank God, the lads are leaving. We'll finally have a chance at winning. We'll finally have a chance at winning? I was like, that is such a compliment. You need to remove us from the equation. You feel so ill-equipped to beat us. That is fucking incredible. And I loved that I overheard it. And whoever said that, just know that I respect the hustle and that we used to come in 8th place every goddamn week. So never stop believing. Maybe someday you can be a lad. Who's to say these things, okay? Clearly trivia is a part of my blood now. I feel like I could never film like a true day in the life type of vlog, because the real honest truth is that 90% of my day is spent sat in this very location editing. I probably edit more than I do any other fucking task. I've been experimenting with the Photoshop AI to make my thumbnails because I wanted to use this photo in this main thumbnail, but obviously the thumbnail needs to be horizontal. So with Photoshop AI, suddenly it is a horizontal photo. So I've been trying to do the same thing with fucking my next video, and for whatever reason, it's giving me the most cursed images. Like, what? I just wanted to expand the fucking background of the photo. Who is this? Pausing from a day in my life in New York to give you a little slice of life of me on vacation, babe. My personal steps towards relaxation change seasonally, even monthly. However, this season of my life, post-challengers, I'll say. I'll admit it. I want to bet that it's not just me who has had a significant increase in the searching of threesome porn. And when I relax, when I have a nice little vacation day to myself, I like to go to www.getcheeks.com and find something to satisfy the challenger's cravings, if you will. Cheeks, of course, if you haven't heard of them, is a sexual wellness platform that offers both educational and erotic content in video, audio, written, and workshop forms. I'm definitely very particular about the porn I watch, and I think I have these like fixations. I've told you guys about my fixations in the past. Uber pool porn. My recent one before my challenger's fixation was the art student nude figure drawing class porn. Hot. And challengers has just ignited something in me. It's summoned me into my next era, which is threesome porn, specifically with 2 men and 1 woman. So, you know, I did what any other regular, normal, completely well-adjusted challengers fan would do. And I did some digging on Cheeks. Cheeks has so many different erotic films to choose from, my current favorite of which is called Three-Way. Straight to the point. Title really tells you exactly what's going on there. But on top of all of the juicy, sexy, steamy erotic content, they also have a ton of tutorials. Also, if you are a fan of audio erotica, which as we all know, I'm a huge fan of audio erotica. They also have a pretty wide selection of various audio erotica that you can listen to. I really appreciate when these sexual health platforms make it so clear what their values are when it comes to the production of ethical pornography. And Cheeks hits all the boxes in ensuring that all of their performers are paid fairly, treated fairly. They're all undergoing regular and mandatory sexual health checks. Performers only have to do what they have actively agreed to do. And of course, diversity within the content they're producing is also really important. It just makes everything way more sexy and way more fun when you can feel good about the porn that you are consuming. And the good news is when you use my code Maddie7, you get 7 free days of Cheeks to test out the platform and see if it's right for you. So you can go ahead and click the link in the description of this video and use code Maddie7 for 7 days of Cheeks completely for free. End of July, beginning of August. I feel like we're due for a little emotional, spiritual check-in. All right. End of July, beginning of August. What are we thinking? What are we feeling? What are we reflecting on? What are we looking forward to? Bringing into the month ahead. July for me was a very anxious month and a very angry month, but I don't necessarily mean that as a bad thing. I actually think it's been a pretty healing kind of anger. I think the first half of the year, I was processing a lot of the things I was going through in my personal life through sadness. And I think that a lot of times when we process through sadness, it is motivated by an empathy we have for other people. And like this deep sadness we feel and this understanding we have for the complexities of the situation and just like this devastation, right? This sadness, loneliness, longing, all of that. And it like prioritizes other people's feelings as well, which I think is a good thing. Not that everyone processes in the same way, but this is how I'm making sense of it in my own brain. And to me, when I start processing through anger, that's something that exclusively prioritizes myself. Does that make sense? When I start to allow myself to feel angry, it's like, I don't know, the older sister in me gets to be an older sister to myself and be like, okay, we've processed the sad parts. Now we're reaching the angry parts because yes, those sad parts exist and I can hold space for like the complexities of my own emotions, but this anger also exists and I'm allowed to let myself feel that in its entirety and not shy away from feeling anger out of protection for other people. Additionally, it's also been an anxious month. I said to my therapist earlier this week, I was like, do you know the feeling you get when your heart drops? She was like, yeah. And I was like, imagine if that feeling just never went away. It was just with you all the time. So I think it's been a lot of good healing, good grief, good anger. But that doesn't make it easier to physically sit with, you know? I am hoping for a little bit more silence, a little bit more calm, some more pockets of peace, as they say. I think I would just love to have some quiet. That really is it. I'm looking for silence. Or I guess more directly, I am telling myself that I want to prioritize finding those pockets of peace and that silence and not expecting them to just show up in front of me, because they might not. And also just continuing to have a good summer. I feel like it's been a pretty fun summer. It's been a pretty creative summer for me. I felt really happy and motivated and inspired amidst all the other things that I'm telling you. So there's a lot going on for me, but I think that it's all leading me to a life that is happier and more fulfilled and well-rounded for me. Let's see what we need to hear. Fill your cup. Didn't we get this at the beginning of the summer? Guys, we couldn't have pulled a better trio if we tried. I feel like we also got this at the beginning of the summer. Crazy. Deep cellular healing, optimism, hope for a bright future. This card means that you have learned to appreciate your journey as a unique and guided experience with a higher purpose. We did talk about this. This is exactly the card I pulled at the beginning of the summer, and a good reminder to just keep at it. Deep cellular healing. It's happening, and we're learning to appreciate the process of it. It's literally exactly what I said. Blissed out. Wasn't this also the card that we pulled last time? I'm losing it. Blissed out. Guys, this is what we love to see. This is good summer energy. That's weird. That's weird. Fulfillment, happiness, euphoria. Take time to show gratitude for all the good. This card means play, success, and joy. Define this time or event. I'm like, what's this third card gonna be? Because this feels like the vibe that we were given at the beginning of the summer. This third card could change everything. What's going on? Okay. Community. I have never pulled this card, and it feels so fitting that now of all times is the time that I pull this fucking card. Celebration, friendship, breaking bread. We are a collection of the work, care, and love of our closest relationships. Our victories are not just our own, but also the fruit of the labor of every person who loves and supports us along the way. This card calls on you to seek connectedness, take time to rejoice with friends, and find your people again. This feels fitting for me for two reasons. One, because I'm about to head up to Maine in 2 days with a bunch of my friends to visit my family and just be around people that I love, that love me. And also because I have been talking so much on my fucking podcast about how over the past month, since I got back from Spain, I have had like such an awakening to what feels like a driving purpose of mine in everything I do, which should have been obvious to me before now, but it really wasn't, and that thing is community. And I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to find new ways to bring our online community together. And also, I've been doing a lot of work in therapy to figure out what kind of community building I want to do in my own life. Community really is at the center of everything. The deep cellular healing that also comes with the knowing that it's all part of the journey and part of the process. Fill your cup, blissed out community. Take this as a sign to do things for you this month and do them surrounded by people you love. Know that you're in the right place, on the right path. Healing is happening, and you just gotta keep living, man. L-I-V-I-N. Oh my God.
much to say. I just got back from seeing Didi, which was a movie that I had anticipated would really hit for me, but my God. The bathroom feels so empty without mold in it. I'm so used to having to be in here with the door closed, which makes this room hot as fucking hell. Have her meowing around with the scent of litter just penetrating my senses. When I tell you I was actually truly physically restraining myself from audibly sobbing in that movie, especially towards the end. But here's the thing about me is that I'm gonna cry even during happy scenes simply because I'm like nostalgic. I don't know. Nostalgia has a fucking grip around my throat, okay? And I'll cry at any moment that I want to, simply because I saw an iPod Nano. Like, don't underestimate me.
I've been seeing the trailer for Didi in Alamo for months, every time I've gone to watch a movie there. And there's one part of the trailer that I start crying at every single time.
Max 啊，保持4.0的 GPA。哦 ，Chris 拍 video。
Every time I saw that in the trailer, it just hit a part of me. Deep cut in there for me. A coming-of-age story that focuses on a perpetually awkward 13-year-old that makes YouTube videos was just something I knew that I was going to enjoy. I mean, there's really so much to love about this movie. I don't want to spoil any part of it, but there are layers to this movie. It's not just the YouTube kid of it all. It's also like a really powerful story about what it means to raise first-gen children as an immigrant mother, and how we're all perpetually doing and saying things that we don't actually mean, simply fueled by other things that we've gone through and felt, and it's all so much projection, it's not even funny. But how love demands to be present regardless. Like, there's so much to be said about this movie and why I loved it and why I think it's so special. But the part that really hits at my heart and at my core is, of course, the YouTube kid of it all. Particularly because this movie's taking place in like 2008. So this was around the time that I was starting to make videos. I made my YouTube channel when I started consistently posting on youtube.com. The starting point that I mark for myself is July 10th, 2010. But the truth is that I was making videos long before that point. I was just posting them on Facebook. And they were not very well received by my peers. And I feel like I've talked a lot about growing up on YouTube and being an internet kid, and also about being a theater kid, but I don't know that I've ever talked about how these two things connect. And this was actually something that this movie brought up for me, sort of like a wonderful, powerful moment of connection that I hadn't even really thought about until this movie. I mark summer 2010 as being the start of my YouTube journey. And summer 2010 was also the summer that I started going to theater camp. It was a 2-week program, but I had never done overnight camp before, and I was going to this camp completely by myself. I didn't know a single other person that did it. It was like a theater program that was a few towns over from me, so I didn't know a single person that was going, and it was a pretty small camp. Like, there were probably about 30, if that, overnight campers. My first year, there might have been like 16 of us. It was a small theater camp. My mom only signed me up for 1 week because we weren't sure if I was gonna love it. And I have been shy my whole life. I used to hate the word shy because I felt like it didn't capture the full picture of me. And I still don't really like the word shy, but I feel like it's the one that people maybe understand the most. I always felt like a walking contradiction. I still do in a lot of ways, because I was like, I'm socially shy. I have a lot of social anxiety. I have to be in like a very particular environment and sort of warmed up a little bit before you totally crack me open. But at the same time, I am not the genre of shy where I would never get up on a stage in front of loads of people or put together videos of myself to post on the internet. I'm a performer, I'm an entertainer, but I'm also a little shy. I went to this camp, signed up for the first week, and for the first like 6 days, I did not make any friends. I was trying really fucking hard. I mean, there are so many memories in my childhood of like things I was signed up for that I made no friends at. I did competitive cheerleading. I was on the same team for like 3 years, and I didn't make a single friend. I didn't make a single fucking friend. So I went the first 6 days of camp without making any friends. And then on the last day of camp, which since there was only 16 of us, I was like the only camper that signed up for 1 week. Everyone else signed up for 2. And on the very last day, there was finally like a breakthrough moment of connection where I felt like I was finally getting to know these people, and like we were becoming friends, like we were starting to joke around with each other. I was finally starting to warm up and feel more comfortable. And I called my mom and was like, please don't pick me up. Just sign me up for another week. Please, I will do anything. Don't make me leave camp. Just sign me up for the second week. All these people are staying for a second week, and I really just want to be their friend. During that second week of camp, I vlogged. I recorded a lot of the stuff that we did, the dances that we learned. We made a music video in like the dorm that we were staying in this college, and just had like a silly, goofy, fun time with it. I got to be the version of me that I got to be in my videos with the people I met at theater camp, the same summer that I started my YouTube channel. And I remember being so excited because I made my channel July 10th, 2010, and I hit 100 subscribers before the end of July. It was like while I was at camp, I hit 100 subscribers exactly 2 weeks later. So it was July 24th. And I was so excited because I was like, that's huge. 100 people decided they liked my videos in the last 2 weeks. That's kind of fucking sick. And I was like so eager to tell people. I felt so proud of myself. At the end of that summer, I threw together a little vlog, a music video from camp, and all of my theater friends loved it and thought it was so fun. And it was the first time that I ever really got recognition from people that knew me in real life about how cool my videos were. And it was the first time I felt like people actually thought that I was cool. So then I vlogged every summer at camp going forward. And I'd turn it into like this hour-long short film at the end of the summer that we would all watch. And like, those are videos that I hold like so close to my heart because they capture like the first time in my life that I really felt like I was a part of something. And it didn't matter if the videos weren't perfectly shot and perfectly edited. It was the passion, it was the heart, it was love of the fucking game. And I had found people that really saw me and really appreciated that in me. And I think the part in the trailer that really stuck with me, the Max has a 4.0 GPA, Chris makes videos, was also a part that really struck me because now, before I say what I'm about to say, my family has always been really supportive of my videos. They've always loved my passion. They've always encouraged me creatively. And that is like one of the best parts about my parents. But it's also complicated. And it's also complicated in the movie too. Like, just go watch it. I'm not gonna say anything. But my parents, particularly my dad, was always really encouraging me to be realistic. They were like, we get that you have all these dreams and you have all these things you want to do, and we love your videos, but there's so few people that actually get to be creative for a living and just make silly videos for a living. So like, have a backup plan. And I always was such a fucking brat about it and was like, backup plans are for losers. I'm not doing that. My dad was always convinced that I didn't try that hard in school. I knew that I was smart and that I could get by without really pushing myself and coming home every night and studying. I came home every night and made YouTube videos, you know? I was a part of like 5 collab channels when I was in middle and high school, okay? 5 collab channels. Do you know what that is? Do you remember those? You were assigned a day of the week and you had to make a video on that day every week. I was a part of like 5 fucking collab channels. I had a full-time job. I had to come home from school and make a video. I had 5 collab channels to contribute to, as well as making a video for my main channel. Oh my God. Can you imagine it? My God, she had fucking bills to pay back then. So when my dad would get frustrated at me because he thought that I could be working harder and studying harder, like, he wasn't wrong in some ways. It's not that I wasn't trying. I just knew that I was smart and that I could get away with doing the bare minimum and that I'd still get decent grades. It's so weird to get older and to be 27 and have like my favorite thing in the world, my hobby, my escape, still be the same thing it was when I was fucking 13 years old. It is so weird. It is the most consistent thing about me, and it makes me so emotional. And I was so stubborn and so dead set on this. And I went to college because my dad wanted me to. And I got on board because I wanted to move to New York City. And I think once I settled in my own brain on the fact that I was going to college and I was gonna go study video production, I felt excited. And I loved college, I did, for what it was. But I never wanted to be a TV writer or go down the path of being a PA or a runner to try to become an editor or anything like that. I just wanted to work for myself and make YouTube videos. This is all I've ever wanted. It seems silly to say that, but it really is. And so that line where it's like, oh, yeah, Max is a 4.0 GPA and Chris makes videos. I was like, that was me my whole fucking life. My siblings had way more to show on their like school grade reports than I did, but I had a library of content to show off. But that was what was important to me, and that was what I wanted to work at, and that's what I cared about investing myself in. 14 years later, here we are. And it's been my full-time job for the last 3 years. When I think about it, I start to cry. And when I quit my full-time job to pursue YouTube full-time, which I only did after I was making more money on YouTube than I was at my job. And when I got to quit my full-time job to work for myself, making YouTube videos, it was like a little part of my heart was validated that it was always cool. Everyone just didn't know. And when I officially quit my job to work for myself and do YouTube full-time, my dad apologized to me. And he was like, I mean, he always believed in me. That was never a question in my mind. He's been the most supportive person for me my whole life. But he said to me, he put his hands up and he was like, you always said that you didn't need a backup plan and I didn't believe you. I was wrong. I think when I think about it, it just makes me really appreciate the power of like finding something you love that makes you feel like you, that you just love so much. It doesn't matter if every single person that ever watches your videos hates them. It's not about who watches it or what they think of it. It's about you. It's about getting to explore that part of you, to create and have fun and just be fucking silly. I love YouTube. There's nothing like it in the whole world to me. And the experience of growing up on this platform and having so much of my life documented is just like, it never gets not emotional for me. Every time I talk about this, I cry. I can't believe that I have my life to look back on video, and I can watch little Maddie hope and dream to be the person that I am right now. Like, I know that I am who my younger self wanted to be, desperately. And that's weird. That's weird to know so definitively that my teenage self went to bed every night and said, God, I hope I end up like me. Like, I feel very lucky, but I also feel like I knew it all along, you know? Which is why my number one advice to any creative person is always just don't stop doing it. That is really the only piece of advice that matters, in my opinion. I made videos for 11 years before I made money off them. I made videos for 11 years before people really started paying attention. Imagine if I stopped. Imagine if at some point I was just like, you know what, this is not working, so I'm just gonna not do it. Then I never would have seen my 13-year-old self. I never would have seen her biggest dream be realized. Yeah, I felt really touched by this movie, by this character, by his relationship with his mom, and his mom's relationship with their grandma, and his relationship with his sister, and with making videos, and all of it. I loved it so much. It's just so special to find something that makes you feel so, like, warm and fuzzy. And through that thing, to find other people that make you feel celebrated for the same things that people used to make fun of you for. Like, there's so much more I can say, so many more stories to tell, but it's like 1 a.m. right now, and I should probably go to bed. But go see Didi. For the love of God, go see Didi.